Okay, now before we move on to lunch, I would like to introduce Darren Hauschild. Darren is the Director Asia Pacific of AOM, who is our co-sponsor. Darren's career spans a number of key client segments, being banking, finance, insurance, funds management, outsourcing, and utilities, and he has experience working with a number of blue chip organisations. So I would like to welcome Darren Hauschild to the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about what we do with you, and I'll make it as brief as I can, but it touches on a lot of things we've already said this morning. So I'll share with you what is the AOM journey we will take you on as a client, so that you understand what that means, how we engage at every level in terms of people to take you on that change journey. So why Lighthouse? This is for our clients. So when I talk about clients at the end of the process, what they tell me is the first time ever they're looking forward. They're spotting obstacles that they never used to look for, and they're no longer actually flying today and looking backwards and firefighting around the issues they have to manage their capacity. They're looking forward, they're in control, the people are enjoying what they do, and they understand the role in the business. So the Lighthouse is really my sense of humour based on so much feedback from all my clients saying, this is what you've got to do, this is how I feel, I'm a different person now, and I enjoy what I do. So who are we? Just briefly, we're a global capability. We work throughout the world with clients in terms of helping them and taking them on a change journey. It's a cultural change journey, but we focus specifically on operations management. So our clients are the people with the large back offices who want to improve their productivity, their capability, and the skill sets that they need to be able to achieve that. We have dedicated presence across Australia and New Zealand, and I have team members who go and work with our clients for the whole period of time. So we work side by side with our clients and help them on that journey. We recognise the best practice, so I'm not saying that this is an independent body who serves the world for best practice, the Washington Advisory Council. I'll give you permission to say that, and I can't have access to the report, but I can tell you I've got a case study you can read later on. You're welcome to take a copy of. And we complement Lean and Six Sigma, so we're not competing with Lean or Six Sigma, we're complementing it in terms of the capability and the data we have available to help the business manage. And ultimately what we're trying to do is create workforce efficiency so that your environment is in control as it increases capacity, therefore you have choice. So a quick snapshot, 50 places, we work with a few clients, 37 different countries, that's changing quite regularly, and we're helping create capacity for those places. So our clients, we know a few of those. Barclays, we actually work in their back office areas, particularly in, they have one of their back offices in Africa, interesting. ABSA, large South African bank, NAB, Westpac and ANZ are large Australian banks. So then we have a range of different clients. Jobcentre Plus is the UK's government department to manage pensions. In our revenue is New Zealand tax. So we work with a range of clients. So irrespective of type, industry or business, it's all about where there's a large group of people trying to perform an activity to support their customers is what we're trying to help them achieve control of. Where have we worked in Asia? Well, we recently completed an implementation for a client, which is a large bank, which was about 8,000 people. And the countries that are up there are all the countries we worked in. The thing we found that was quite dynamic in Asia was the power of the method, the structure, so irrespective of language, the important thing was the methodology. So people had a path to follow in terms of what they do, how they did it, and therefore that became the opportunity in terms of understanding how to improve their operational effectiveness. We work closely with institutions like this one to make sure that we're across the latest research relative to operations leadership and operations management. We worked at Warwick Business School in regards to both the postgraduate program and making sure that what we're doing in the service industry is working with our experience in terms of organisations globally. Their interesting comment is in regards to making sure people understand what they can do with the time they have available. operations management talks about the method, and the Harvard Business Review talks about uncertainty. So all relative to change, what we're trying to do is bring that control and change to a structural basis. One of the things we focus on and how we do that, bring that together, is get leaders to understand what is the dynamic tension that exists for me as an operations leader in the business, to know what's the focus this week, this month, this quarter, depending on my culture and my organisation. Is it a quality focus? Is it a productivity and efficiency focus? Or is it a service delivery focus? Now, that changes in parts of the financial year, it changes by organisation, it changes by culture, but as a leader, I have to balance all three. So how do we help the leaders to understand that they need to balance those three and understand the dynamic tension that exists between them in a way that they can lead their people and take them on that journey to understand what's happening? So what we do is we help improve that control to give those choices. If I walked into an organisation, the majority of the time when I walk in the first time, this is the volume of work in that's occurring. It changes dynamically by day, by pressure. And how efficiently do I work in terms of the people in their business? Usually their productivity follows volume. So on a really busy day, I work really, really hard. And on a quiet day, I go a bit slow. The next day it's really hard, so I'm working fast. And that constant fluctuation means that there's uncertainty and pressure on the people within the business. What we say is we should be able to simplify that for you. So how do we do that? So let's stabilise productivity. Let's set a standard relative to what is achievable. We build that from the bottom up with the people to understand what are the core things they're achieving, what is a standard that is achievable, that has already been achieved, and let's put that in place and measure people to the standard. The people's involvement, as Brian was talking about, means they own the targets, they own the measures, they participate in the development of them, now they're being measured against them, and they share that and understand what the opportunity is. What that does is increase capacity, obviously, give lots more control to the business in terms of what they can do with that increased capacity. So a lot of our clients are growing. It doesn't necessarily mean they just need to reduce expenses. It means they can do more with the same amount of people. They can get better customer service. They can guarantee the standards they're offering to their customers with absolute certainty now, because they know what the capacity is down to the hour, down to the skill set, down to the individual. Then they can bring that back up again all the way to how does that mean that I can load share between my team in New Zealand, with my team in Australia, with my team in Manila, with my team in Bangalore, make sure that in a day we get the work done. So we create that consistency of both language and what we're measuring, the language of what we're trying to control, and how that works together. Creates choice, and the business can make decisions. So what do we do to help do that? Essentially, we have a method around what we do, which is our operations methodology. It's supported by training and coaching of the people, which we think is critical. So we're aspiring to get every operational leader that goes through our journey to be accredited as an operations professional. And it's an assessment-based criteria where they have to get to an achievement to be an operations. But it's also an opportunity to celebrate success and to celebrate the learning that the people have gone on the change journey. And we've got a tool. And the tool's really an enabler for the method of the people. So what do we do? How do we do that? We focus on teaching leaders about cost, quality and service, as I touched on. We then look specifically at what are the behaviours your leaders have today to support them being an operations leader. So outside of everything else they do, what are the operational leadership behaviours they currently exhibit on a daily, weekly basis that are supporting them in their role? What are the processes in terms of the things the rituals they're doing to gain regularly that are supporting them as an operations leader? And what skills do they have? So when I talk about skills, not as a subject matter expert, which most people when we start are special, and they're telling us that there's nothing to learn. But what are their skills as an operations leader versus subject matter expert? And then what tools they have to support them outside of lots and lots of versions of Excel, which is what we're not going to. And outside of that, what are the principles that are occurring on a daily basis to make people be the best they can be? So in our case, that's striving to be the best possible, making sure you're taking action, keeping things visible so people are involved and understand the journey. So what is the journey? We start with a health check. We call it a health check. The health check is a diagnostic where we'll come into your business with a blank piece of paper. We know exactly what we're looking for.
and we're going to assess within 48 hours what are the things you're doing really, really well, what are the things that are opportunities to improve. We're going to quantify what is the upside opportunity in terms of productivity, and we then share that back with you to form part of the business case. We do that through a combination of interviews. So we're interviewing Dominic at his desk to actually get to see how he works. I don't want to see him in an office or in a room. I want to see him at his desk with all the things he plays with to understand how he's running his business. We'll then also do a focus group. And interesting, in Asia when we do a focus group, people will either tell you everything or they won't tell you anything depending on whether the leader's in the room or not. So what we find is we don't actually let the leaders in the room and we get people to be open and honest. And they get excited about sharing why they like working where they are, but also sharing with us what's happening in terms of their business. One thing we find is the biggest area for people in Western countries, when I say what do you like most about working here, like I say 99.9% of the time someone will say the people I work with. I love the people I work with, and that's what inspires me. When I ask that same question in Asia, it's the learning I'm getting out of what we're doing, and that learning to me is very powerful to me and my family and my community, and therefore I'm inspired by getting that increased learning. We have a simulation training that we then start using the program, and we'll do it about week 8. The sim training is very unique to us. It's a 4-day program, so if you imagine the person on your left and your right, you're now a team. And you've just been flown in to run a business. And you're going to run this business for the next 4 months. We're going to give you targets around cost, quality and service. And at the end of those 4 days, we're going to award the contract to the winning syndicate. We could run that with everyone in this room. We take you through, you have to make decisions. You have to make decisions around hiring people, coaching people, disciplining people, meeting the targets around cost, whether you're going to increase, decrease your productivity, how do you balance the work that's coming in a controlled way. You do a board presentation and a business plan. So it's our way of teaching you how to be your operations leader. If you want to understand what that experience is like, it's a combination of exciting, pressure cooker, dynamic, you're in competition with everyone in the room, but you also have to have fun. Savio's done the course, he informed me. He's been through that journey, so he's got someone you can talk to around what that was actually like. But we do that because we want to set the scene and we want to give people the learning around what is it like to be an operations leader before we take them through our program. Then we start on our core implementation, which takes 15 weeks. It touches on everything we talked about this morning. So we look at how we're going to capture the data, how do we measure what we're going to do, how does that become very transparent and open and honest, and people understand where we're going. We look at some short range planning, and we finish with continuous improvement. Because on that 15-week journey, when we're coaching the leaders, we find that they've come up with lots of ideas. That's the next lean project, or it's the next Six Sigma project, because now they have the data to measure what's happening. But also it's generated from the bottom up. And this is from my business, I can tell you where the opportunity is to improve at a efficiency capability level. But then that's your life for 2 months. The reason we do that is we're taking you on a change journey. We want to see how well it's done. How much did you learn? What is the opportunity moving forward? We come back and do a post-implementation review, which is similar to the health check. We come in at the end and say, now how far have you progressed relative to our best practice model? And how far have you gone up? What are the things you still need to focus on? What are the opportunities? We then come back a month later and we do an accreditation. So the accreditation is everything from team member level as an online assessment up to senior executives, and it's a combination of online assessment and side-by-side assessment. So I would see if Dominic passed the online assessment, then I actually sit with him again, and I want him to take me through his learning and show me how he demonstrates the methods, the behaviours, the processes that we've taught him to understand that it's real. So we did that recently in China, and when I sat watching, a part of our process is a daily ritual we call a buzz meeting. And the buzz meeting is sharing with the team what happened yesterday, what's happened today, any changes that we're having. So in the buzz meeting in China, they were running this meeting in English, and no one said anything. It was very, very quiet, which is the opposite of what we did. Everyone's talking and has ideas and sharing what's happening. So I just said, do you normally run that meeting in English? I said, no, it's in Mandarin. I said, okay, can you do it in format manager change? Everyone was excited and sharing the knowledge and sharing the skills and sharing the change and sharing what they achieved. So the structure and the method is what makes it quite better. The accreditation from our perspective is also a celebration. It's a celebration like a university graduation. It gives the leadership team the opportunity to share the success and recognise their people, particularly their leaders around the change journey they've been on, what they've achieved. A number of our clients treat it like a full graduation. We get everyone dressed up. Even in Fiji, when we did this, everyone got dressed up in gowns with the whole experience to celebrate that journey they've been on. And the uplift in performance was very significant for them. But more about learning. We have a structured model. The model, we find people are usually at the lower levels when we start out. We're trying to take them aspiring to take you to level 5 performance. And we do it in a very sequential structured way in terms of taking you on that journey. And every organisation is different, every department is different. So it's taking all the different areas and teams and members from where they are today to where they can be in the future. And we track that and measure that. So we measure it at the beginning, and we measure it at the post-implementation review, and we share what the next steps are. So that there's a roadmap moving forward, and there's a beginning, continuing journey without us. I just touched on this earlier. When we walk into an organisation, there's lots of technical experts. So the first one I usually hear is, I'm special. You're not going to teach me anything. I know exactly what we do, and there's nothing to learn. What usually happens in an operations business is people are subject matter experts, so they get promoted to leadership. So all of a sudden now I'm a subject matter expert with leadership skills, and you've taught me how to manage my people. But when it gets really busy, I like to go back and hide in the job. I like to do what I'm really good at because I'm comfortable there. So what we do is we come in and complement that. We're trying to give you that operational skill set to add to your bag of tricks to complement what you do. And one of the things we have to support that. So lots of things. We have our online learning academy that people can go on that journey, be self-driven around what the learning is. We do one-on-one coaching, we do group learning. We have supporting manuals and tools so that there's a roadmap. There's a roadmap for every member, there's a roadmap for team members, there's a roadmap for team leaders, there's a roadmap for managers to understand what their role is, because all their roles are different in this change journey, to understand what's happening. All aimed to get them to that accreditation point. What's in the future, in our method, the way we help make this come to life is our weekly process that becomes part of a continuous learning loop for leaders. So on a Thursday or a Friday, as a team, we would have a meeting. We would go to a meeting room and we would have a whiteboard and we would put up all the hours of capacity in our business, which is the box down the bottom. So on the Monday, the first team has -5 hours of capacity. The servicing team has +7. So I might make a decision, we're the leadership team. So all of a sudden we're going to make a decision around who goes where. So I'm going to share someone out of Ron's team with Savio's team. I'm going to share someone out of George's team with Nigel's team to make sure that we balance. And we walk out of here in 40 minutes with a balanced plan. That balanced plan means we're walking out in control. And as a leadership team, we know exactly what decisions to make. We then go and share that with the team. So now the team are involved in that journey. They understand what's happening. They understand their role. They understand how to participate. That's really important. So then we go through each day of the week. The team are briefed. We have a daily buzz meeting, which I talked about, and the buzz meeting gives the team the chance to give input and to support that. But they've also helped create the measures that we're measuring on that basis, so therefore they help own that and understand that. And then on the following week, on the Monday or Tuesday, we'll have a weekly variance meeting. So we look back and we reflect. What did I say on Friday? What actually happened? What did we learn? What did I learn about George's team? What did I learn about Terry's team? What did I learn about my own team? That decision I made around not sharing Ron with George actually meant we both missed our targets. We missed the service experience for our clients. We missed an opportunity. So how do we make that different? We then do that process not only on a weekly basis, but then monthly, quarterly, annually, so that the business comes together, the people involved, and we know what the change journey is in terms of getting more efficient. We have a tool. I haven't touched on the tool much so far. So the tool helps people bring that together as an enabler. That's as much as I need to say about the tool. It enables the methodology to stick. It supports the leaders in their decision. It allows us to look at how we can develop our people. Things we can measure as examples. On the left, I can look at trends. So I can compare George's performance to my performance. I can look at there's opportunities where I'm not doing something as well. So what's the learning opportunity? Is there something I can be coached in that will help me and my capability? If I look at the one on the right, well, this one here is my performance. So I'm really good some days, and I'm a bit slower other days. So why is that? That could be lots of different reasons. But then you look at George, and he's really consistent, and he sort of maintains that. So what's happening? What is the opportunity? What is the learning? How as a leader can I now use that information to make active decisions around what's happening in the business and what's happening with my people to therefore enhance that experience? So How do we bring all that together? If you think about it from a intraday, we're managing what's happening within the day and the period and how I'm working through the day, up to daily, weekly, monthly, annually. We're looking at workload, resources, and how we maximise that. And if you think about it from an individual perspective, you can see my personal performance all the way out to aggregating whole countries and regions together to understand where the opportunities are in terms of consistency and capability, is the way we brought that together in terms of the method. What does it mean at an organisational level? We usually would have a lift in performance of between 15 and 25%, which therefore gives you choice. As I said before, that's choice in terms of what you do. Can you invest in more training for your people around that new program that's coming out so that you've got the structure to do it? Department managers have increased control, they have new skills, and they know what's expected, but they've got this new understanding of their business and the dynamics, and therefore they're excited about their role because they're in control. Team leaders actively know where to coach their people. They're planning forward around their capacity next week, and they go into next week with certainty, with understanding, with the knowledge of what they are and aren't going to be able to do. And team members constantly tell us that it's no longer a pressure environment where they're going up and down. It's not work hard one day and then quiet the next. Their morale goes up because they know what's expected. They've participated in the process. They help sign up to the standards. They're quite transparent around that information and they share it. So I share my productivity performance with George and with Terry and with Ron, and we can see and understand what the opportunities in terms of learning. So there's less pressure, there's more output, and that consistency moves up over time. So what have we created? Any service-based capability supports this methodology. We're taking you on a cultural change journey based around a method, which gives you the structure and the roadmap moving forward. To know by it all, the common definitions is really interesting because we start quite often with an organisation that just a simple word like productivity or utilisation is different. So the Australian word in one organisation, they measure it one way. Vietnam measure it another way. Manila measures it another way. Bangalore measures it another way. So how do we bring that together? So by creating the consistency of definition means now we're all talking the same language to what we're measuring and how we're doing that. So that becomes very important because then we can look at true transparency around the performance of the business. We're using the same way of calculating it, and it's maths-based on output that the teams are signing up to in a consistent way. It's sustainable. So our objective is to put in place champions so that when we leave at the end, there's an in-house champion that's the expert in our way, and they become the organisation owner of this capability in a sustainable way so that you don't need to draw on us again. You constantly grow that capability and continue to learn and grow. For implementation is 15 weeks, so it's quite a rapid journey that takes people on a lot of change. And in some ways we're teaching people how to walk a new way of doing things. But when they get on that change journey, they become very excited about what the new way of doing things. Multi-skilling becomes structured because I have time to plan for that training. I have time to plan for that development, and it's in my capacity based on what's happening in the business. So therefore everyone becomes excited about learning they can now get support their goals. KPIs around productivity, quality and service, they're not anecdotal. They're not based on colours, they're based on maths, they're based on output that I've contributed to as an individual, that I understand, that I've signed off on, and therefore it's understood. And therefore when I have my performance review, I can go in with clarity around what I've actually achieved, how I've achieved it, and what the contribution is there. Ultimately you end up with a continuous improvement culture because that cycle and the methodology is help driving your capability and your improvement. And we're quite keen to make it, as Brian said, what's the way? Well, it's your way of doing it. So our clients name it whatever they like. And it's usually owned by a team member coming up with a name and saying, where does this fit within the change journey? And what are we going to call this program? So one of our clients calls it ATOM, which is not too different to AOM. It stands for Active Time Operations Management. Other clients, as part of their operations way journey. So we're part of a change program helping to bring control and capacity and development for people to give them the skills to enhance their capability. So thank you for your time. I just want to give that quick overview of where it fits with change and how it supports what we're talking about. Because what we're trying to do is touch at every level in terms of those capabilities.
very much, Darren Hauschild from AOM International. Does anybody have any questions for Darren at this time? Yes, can we get a microphone over to the...
Problematic with the language.
Usually most of the countries we've been in has leadership team can speak English. But if they don't, we work with an interpreter. All of our knowledge, all of our documentation is in language. So that's how we do that. So we're both the tool and training to the language vocabulary.
Yes, I have one question. I've been in China for quite a long time. What's your experience if you implement this and you see all these facts on a daily basis? Will people resign because of this? Because it's very fact-based. I like it, but I know China very well, so people get nervous.
The key to the success is two things. One is the leadership, and the ownership by the leadership team. So this is not something that's being done to you. This is something we're supporting you do. Yes. And we're very clear on that at the beginning. So the key thing is to make sure that from day one you own it, which is as the leader of the business, and I'm just here to support your success. And my job is to facilitate your success. But if you don't own it as a leader, we usually solve. You need to own that at the beginning to make sure that happens. In terms of the measurement, it's therefore then how you use the data is the other key. So if you use the data to an ineffective way of performance management, then it becomes scary, because I know that how you're using it is not for the right reasons. And what we encourage is a culture where the data is used to enhance capability, enhance people's skills, and we focus on developing a leader to know what are their behaviours to ensure that the way they use the data is critical to the culture they're creating. So what we want in place is a sustainable capability. If you want to get rid of a heap of people and do that, you probably wouldn't use us. We're trying to create a sustainable technology, not come in with a hatchet gang and wipe out a heap of people. Sure, so you don't need us. It's not like without us ways. So we've created a sustainable capability, that's where we're coming. So we're trying to give you the longevity of culture and capability where people thrive. Sure, please.
I think I can answer this question realistically because I was at Barclays at ABSA in Africa, where we actually implemented workwear for African back office and call centers. And I went to a business simulation, which incidentally is probably the most practical training I've gotten in operations management. And I have done a master's level operations management course. I would highly encourage anyone, if you have any call center, if you have any back office operations, you don't have to do the whole AOM journey, but by all means do the simulation training. It's 4 days that will give you a fantastic experience to all the operations managers. To answer the question as to how workwear was actually used, I wasn't involved in the workwear implementation, but I was involved in the organizational measurement, performance measurement. And two things, or one of the things we did, and I did, was took the output of workwear and implemented it in work metrics that were used in performance management. It was basically a productivity and accuracy of transactions. And it all depends on how you use the output of that, because people can be suspicious. The way we used it, what we found very successful was two things. One is the thing that was mentioned up there about the team leaders being empowered, right? It's the people who are actually running your organization are the team leaders, the people who are actually running the people on the ground. And if you empower them to make those changes and make those decisions without having to go up to several levels of management, that's what workwear actually allows you to do. The second thing is the visual management, which the outputs of workwear, we put them up on charts and just put them up on the walls of the operations floor. If you have 200 people on the floor, it's hard to tell them how things are progressing on a daily basis. But if you have it on the wall where everybody's walking to the water cooler, there's your message and there's your culture change that it's going to change on a daily basis. And in the interest of disclosure, I never met Darren before today, and I'm not getting any feedback from you.
You could have given the presentation, that's great.
I think Darren, I think we'll have to not cut you short there, but we will, I think we're going to go for some lunch in just a moment. And Darren, I believe, will be on the discussion panel at the end of the day. If you have any direct questions for Darren then, or collectively with the other panel members, then there'll be a good opportunity to address them. Before we go at lunch, I'd like to say thank you to Darren Hauschild for his